Hey everyone, welcome to another Reality Skewed Gamers tutorial video. I am Finity with Reality Skewed Gamers, and today we are going to go over how to optimize your speed mods. So one of the things we've been doing, if you guys haven't been able to watch, is on the lunch stream we've been doing roster reviews. And one of the most common things we've been noticing is that speed mods have not been optimized on the characters that you really need to get fast. And especially with the current Emperor Palpatine meta that is going on, getting characters like Vader as fast as possible is becoming a more crucial thing in order to rise up in Arena. And so what we wanted to do today is go over how you can maximize your speeds on your characters. I've gone over this during the lunch mods, but without visuals it becomes a little bit difficult for everyone to follow. So what you'll see on the screen is to my left over here, on the right of your screen, is my GG page. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you sign up for a swuggo.gg account. Recently in an AMA with the devs, they did come out and say that they are working with the guys at swuggo.gg in order to get them the information and use this as a tool. So this tool is actually becoming more and more valuable as we move along. So definitely make sure that you create an account if you haven't. Down below is the diagram that I mentioned before. And I'll go through a little bit more in detail as we go forward. But I've already kind of preset the diagram for you guys, and we'll end up going through and filling it out. I'm doing it on Excel. Normally I do it on a sheet of paper, but because I want to make sure you guys know what I'm doing and you don't need to read my chicken scratch, I figure I'd do it on Excel so you guys can kind of see the process. Down in that corner over there, you'll see that there's the game screen. There's not going to be too much on that. I'm just going to show you guys just a few things here so you can kind of coordinate it. But for the most part, we'll be focusing either on the diagram below or the GG page that's to my left, to the right of your screen. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first thing is kind of describing the diagram. So the character that I'm going to focus on modding today is going to be Thrawn. Now in my team, because I'm using a specific teams, plural, getting Thrawn as my fastest character makes the most sense. If you're focusing specifically on your Emperor Palpatine team, then chances are you're going to want your Vader to be the fastest. It all depends on your roster and what you want to do with it, so make sure you guys are cognizant about what you plan on doing with these characters. But let's focus on Thrawn. So if I go to my characters, and I go to Thrawn, where I think I just passed. Where's that blue dude? There's the blue dude. So this is Thrawn, and this is the one that I'm going to be modding today. With regards to the diagram though, the diagram is set up with 6 boxes, and I have 4 different diagrams set up there. They are all coordinated with the way that the mod screen is set up. So what you'll see is that the top left of each of the diagrams is going to represent the square mod. The top right is going to represent the arrow mod. The middle left is going to represent the diamond. The middle right is going to represent the triangle. The bottom left the circle, and the bottom right the plus sign. As we go through the mods, we're going to be looking at those specific spots and then filling out this Excel sheet. Or in your case, it may be a sheet of paper, which is usually the way I do it. You'll see kind of as I go through the different options what you're supposed to do, and if you do this well, you only need to do this one time for each character, and then at the end I'll go through how you can use the GG tool in order to make it so you can do the same process that we'll go through for multiple different characters. And there is a little bit of a process with that. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you notice on the Excel sheet, there is one diagram marked with an S and another diagram marked with an O. Now these ones are going to represent speed for S and other for O. So O is going to be all your non-speed secondary or non-speed set mods, and then the S is going to be your speed set. And what you're essentially trying to do is compare what your best speed mods are without speed set versus your best speed mods with set. You can also include speed sets in here. So normally I do, it gives you an idea about where your mods are and what your fastest mods are. If you are low on speed set mods, I would exclude your speed sets from your O from your other diagram. And that is because you're going to need to try and get that 10% speed bonus probably on other characters. So you're not going to want to have a character with 5 speed mods, right? Because the 5th one really doesn't provide anything. With your characters that you're looking for with speed, the 2-piece set bonus that you get in addition to the 4-piece speed bonus, if you are using your speed bonus, is not as important. If you can get a 2-piece, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. Some characters are just more reliant on getting speed and going first, especially when you're focusing in on arena. It's a little bit different for PvE content like raids and territory battles, so for those ones you can focus a little bit more. But for arena, where it's all about speed, especially for specific characters like Vader and Thrawn, then you can focus just primarily on speed. Okay, so let's go ahead and start going through the modding process. So when you go to your GG page, you're going to see that there is this mods option. So go ahead and click the mods, and you're going to go to your screen with all of your different mods on it. Now this screen is not organized fully, right? So what you're going to want to use is this filters option. This filters option is going to be what you use as not only you do your character mod right now, but also moving forward. There's a lot of different things, and you'll use all of the different buttons on here, and we'll go through them by the end of this video. But as you see in the filters, the first row tells you about slots. Now the slots represent the shapes of the different mods. So you see square, arrow, diamond, triangle, circle, and plus sign. Then you have your sets. So you have your health, your defense, your crit damage, your crit chance, your tenacity, your offense, your potency, and your speed set. Then you have you have your primary stats and your secondary stats. Now, one thing to note, there is only one mod shape that has a speed primary, and that is the arrow mod. So you will not be using the speed primary stat spot very much. You'll only use it for the searching of the arrow mod. You'll primarily be using the secondary speed when you're doing the searches. So just kind of keep that in mind. So what we can do is first start off with the square mod with a speed set, right? So we're going to start filling out that S diagram. And then go ahead with your speed secondary. I'll go over the exclude squads at the end because that is what you use when you're trying to mod multiple different characters. Okay, so what we're going to look for first is your square mods with a speed set and your speed secondaries. Now when you apply these filters, it will give you your speed set mods that is the squares mod with the highest ones showing first. So you will see that my fastest speed secondary mod on a square that is of a speed set is going to be Thrawn. So what I'm going to do is then go over to my Excel sheet, and in the S area, in the S diagram, in the top left, I'm going to write plus 15, right? So I have my 15 speed there, and I'm also going to write what character it is on. This way, when I go to the end and I need to figure out how to remod my characters, I not only know what the speed is going to be, but also where that mod is located. Okay, so this will help me know that I am now I'm going to get a 15 speed off of my Thrawn. That is where my fastest speed plus sign is. So you repeat this process for all of the other shapes. So let's go to the diamond mod, right? So you unclick the square, you click the diamond. I'm skipping the arrow intentionally because the arrow is going to be your speed primaries, right? For me, I know that I have several speed primary arrows. When I'm doing my initial, I think I have something around the range of like 21 or something like that. And so I don't really have to click this. I can actually just go in here and click 30 for my speed in the S diagram. I don't want to fill out the character because in order to figure out which arrow I want, I need to do more evaluation on the secondary speeds or the secondary stats and what I want for Thrawn. Maybe I want more protection, a little more health, whatever it is. I can look a little bit more later. If you don't have a lot of arrows of the speed set, definitely make sure you note where the mod is that you're looking for, right? So if you only have one speed arrow with plus 30 and it is on your Qui-Gon Jinn, make sure that you write Qui-Gon Jinn in that box. Okay, but otherwise just plus 30 for me because I know my mods at this point. So I'll just put the plus 30 there. Then I'm going to continue searching with my diamond mod. And let me just bring up Thrawn again here, so he'll just keep him on the screen so we know who we're modding here. Okay, so I'm going to apply the filter with the diamond. And my fastest diamond mod with the speed set, with the speed secondary, is my plus 16 Thrawn. So I'm going to go back to my sheet here. I'm going to write 16. And it's going to be on Thrawn. Simple enough, right? So then all you do is you continue this process. So now let's go to your triangle mods. Now the triangle mod is something you want to keep your eye out for because you will have some that have, for example, a critical damage primary. Now critical damage primaries on a 5-dot triangle mod are very, very useful. It is only one of two ways to increase your critical damage. So it's either the primary on your triangle or the 4-piece critical damage bonus. So you want to make sure that you're always careful about using your critical damage primaries. Some characters, because of arena, speed is more important, so you sacrifice it a little bit. Otherwise, you may just use it otherwise. So in this case, I would still, if it is my fastest mod and it gives my Thrawn the fastest speed, I'm going to not care about the critical damage. Right now, this one's on Vader. I don't mind critical damage on Vader because I can use it with this culling blade. But just in general, like you may not want to use a critical damage triangle on a Hermit Yoda, for example, right? But if it gets him fast and all you care about is your speed, then you can use it. So when you're reviewing your mods, make sure you know what you're using it for and why you're using it. As long as you do it knowingly, it's perfectly fine. So in this case, my fastest speed triangle with speed secondary is a plus 12 that is on my Vader. So I'm going to go back to my sheet here. I'm going to put 12 and I'm going to put Vader. Now let's go to the circle mod. So go again to the filters, triangle, go back, unclick the triangle, click the circle, apply the filters. And my fastest circle speed secondary mod speed set is a plus 13 on Rex. So back to the sheet we go, 13 and Rex. And then lastly, we have our plus. So we're going to unclick the circle, click the plus sign, apply the filters. And we have our plus 16 that is currently on Thrawn. So simple enough, we've now put all of the different, we filled out the speed diagram. Now we're going to go to the other. Now again, if you are maybe a newer player that doesn't have a lot of speed mods, right? And you're going to want speed secondary mods because you get a 10% speed bonus off your base speed as a result of having a 4-piece bonus. And it's really useful, especially on characters you want to get fast. So if you do not have a lot of speed mod sets, you will want to, when you do this next step, unclick your speed set. If you have a lot of speed sets and you're not going to suffer too much by using 5 speed mod sets, right, even though only 4 gets you the bonus, then you can go ahead and click it because you do want to make sure you know what your fastest mod is. So I'm going to leave it clicked for me just for now, but decide on whether or not you want to keep the speed set clicked or not based on how many speed mods you know you have, right? Because you guys will have an idea about how much you farmed, how much you didn't farm, what your depth is. So just keep that in mind, and you may want to unclick this. When I first started, I did have this unclicked at this, and I spent about 2 months farming speed mods, so now I keep it clicked because I have it accessible. Okay, so what you're going to do now is fill out the O diagram. And the O is for other, meaning including others besides speed or potentially including speed. So what I'm going to do first is go to my, my plus sign. And with my plus sign, my fastest one is going to be the speed secondary on Thrawn. So back to the diagram, I'm going to put 16 and I'm going to put Thrawn. So what I am doing now is finding what my fastest mod set is going to be if I just use my fastest speed secondaries, just purely fastest speed secondaries. So now I'm going to do it for the circle, and my fastest circle is a plus 14, and you'll see that I have several different ones that have plus 14. I can tell you right now I will not use the plus 14 on CLS if I have other options, because the CLS one is a crit damage. Again, crit damage can only be gotten from 2 spots, so a crit damage set is very important. And because of that, I will save the crit damage for a different character. So I have plus 14s that are on Hermit Yoda, I have a plus 14 that's on Nihilus, and I have a plus 14 that's on Thrawn. Now, one thing I'm going to do now that you'll see as I modify the last entry, next to Thrawn, I'm going to put in parentheses an S. That's going to represent that the mod that is there is a speed mod. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because when it comes down to the end, I may be able to select a 2-piece bonus to go along with the 4 pieces of speed, assuming that that's the direction I go. So in that case, I want to make a little bit of a notation of what the speed is. So with the circle mods, I know that my fastest is going to be a 14. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some abbreviations, but Hermit Yoda, right? So I'm going to do HY for Hermit Yoda, and his set is a critical chance. Nihilus has a tenacity, and Thrawn has a potency. So next to Hermit Yoda, I'm going to put a little CC. Next to Nihilus, I'm going to put a T for tenacity, and next to Thrawn, I'm going to put a P for potency. So this will remind me about what the speed set is when I come down to the end and I decide what I want to actually use. Now, let's go to the triangle. So I'm going to go back to the filters, unclick the circle, click the triangle. My fastest triangle speed secondary is a plus 13 health mod that is currently on Thrawn. So, and again, it is a crit damage primary, so make sure you know that you're using that. Okay, when you're at the point and you're reviewing it, make sure that you know why you're using that, even though it has a crit damage. So I have my Thrawn listed there now. Now we go back and we go to our diamond mod. Unclick the triangle. My fastest diamond is a plus 16 that is on Thrawn, and it's a speed set. And you'll see the next one is a plus 15, so it's only the one mod. So 16, Thrawn, and speed. Simple enough. Now let's go to the next one. So if we go to the arrow mod, again, I know I have several arrows. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to fill in a 30 here because I know I have several mods. I also know I have several speed set primary mods. And then last one I'm going to do is the square. Now if I go to the square and apply the same filters, my fastest is a plus 16 crit chance on Vader. So go to the diagram, 16, Vader, and critical chance. So what I have now is filled out the S and the O. So I filled out 2 of these 4 diagrams. Now, what is the next one? The next thing is in this third box, or the third diagram in the bottom left, I am now going to subtract the values from the left and the right. So in this first one, I'm going to do the 15 minus the 16. So you'll see that the total becomes a -1. What this tells me is that if I use the speed set that gives me the maximum, compare it to what my maximum would be if I just used my best speed secondary in that stat, I will lose a total of 1 speed. Now, in Excel, you can at least copy and paste this, so I'm going to do this for all 6 of these. And you can manually subtract them and you'll see what the difference is. But essentially, what you see is that in this one, I will lose 1 speed if I pick the speed set versus my fastest speed secondary. In the arrow, oh, and I don't want the, let me just get rid of those borders because it's going to be throwing me off. Okay, there we go. So you'll see that in the arrow mod, if I use the speed versus my fastest other one, I'm not going to have any loss. In my diamond, I'm not going to have any loss. If I'm going to use the plus sign, I'm not going to have any loss. So for these 3, which I now highlighted, and on my paper I usually circle it when I do this, I can use my speed sets and I will not lose that much. But what I'm doing is actually trying to find my 4 maximum values. Right? So anything from 0, and then the next thing I'm looking for is a -1, -2, working down. And what I'm noticing is that the next 3 are -1. So that means that I can pick any of these because they have the same value for the speed set versus a non-speed set. And because I already have everything modded, and you can see kind of on the S diagram that my square mod is already a Thrawn with a speed set, I'm just going to stick with that for now. I can pick any of them. For example, I could have done the speed on Vader as my main one, and then use the crit chance from Vader and the crit chance on Hermit Yoda. That could be a potential option, although I'm not really caring too much about crit chance on Thrawn at this point, so I'm just going to continue on with the way that I have things modded, because it still does optimize speed. But now you see that I have 4 things highlighted, and those 4 are the ones that I will use for the speed set. For the other 2, I can use the ones that show up in the other. But is it still worth it, is the question. So what I want to do now is take these 4 values that I have marked and then add them together. So I'm going to add the -1, the 0, the 0, and the 0. Simple enough. Total is a -1. The next step is to go to your game and look at what your base speed is for your character. So if I go to my Thrawn and I look at what his speed is, his speed is listed as 269. However, you see that blue number, that is currently what his mods provide him in speed. So if I do the 269 minus the 119, Thrawn's base speed is 150. Your speed mod bonus, as a result of having 4 level 15 speed set mods, is going to give you 10% speed. So what I'm going to do is then multiply that base speed by 10%. And you'll see that this 4-piece bonus is going to provide me plus 15 speed. The next thing I'm going to do is then subtract or add together the number that I calculated first, which is this -1, which is the sum of all of those 4 different numbers, and then add it to that speed bonus. So you'll see that the total becomes 14, or plus 14. What that tells me is that if I use a speed set, despite not having my best speed secondaries necessarily in that spot, I will gain 14 speed compared to if I just use my best speed secondaries. So what you are looking for is that this value that I have in blue is going to be, it scrolled off the screen here. So if I do the -1, let me move these here. There we go. So the -1, right, then the 150 is the speed of Thrawn, the 15 is the 10% speed bonus, and if I add the -1 and the 15, I get 14, which I have in blue. If that blue number is greater than 0, that means you get a benefit by using the speed set despite the fact that your other speed secondaries may be higher, because that 10% bonus compensates for that loss in speed just on the secondaries. Now, I'm going to change the example a little bit here. Let's suppose that my Thrawn's square mod was an 8. And my Thrawn's, I'm going to change a lot of these, right? Just to kind of show you guys how this works. Okay, so I changed my speed sets, right? I changed around all the speed set numbers. And let's suppose you haven't farmed a lot of speed sets, and for some of the players that are newer, you may have something similar to this if you didn't spend a lot on speed mod farming. You'll see that all of these numbers change, right? I'm going to change the addition here because now my yellow mods, the ones that I'm circling, are going to be a little bit different. So it's going to be this and this. So I'm going to use this as an example. So the -13s I won't use, so I'm going to use the 8, the 9, the 6, and the 10. So I'll get a total of -33 speed if I use my speed set versus my non-speed set. Thrawn still 150 base speed, gains 15 from the speed set. You'll now see that the total is -18. So for this example, right, the one that I just kind of changed, you will see that if I put a 4-piece speed set, just to get that 10% bonus and not use my speed secondaries, I will actually lose 18 speed. So for this example, the one that I just kind of made up here, I am better off just using my speed secondaries, my fastest ones, on my character because my speed sets do not compensate for the loss. So that is why you're doing this calculation, because you're trying to make sure that you don't want to just focus on the speed mod bonus, right, of the 10%. You don't just want to focus on the speed secondaries. It's looking at both of them and seeing which one gives you the best value. So I'm going to undo all of those changes here and go back to the original. There we go. Okay, so now we're back to the original with my Thrawn example, and you'll see that I am at plus 14. So for me, based on this example, I am good with using my speed set for those 4 spots. So what I'm going to do now is basically fill in this last spot what the speed secondary should be and where those mods are. So I know that I'm going to use a speed secondary plus 15 from the speed set, so I know I'm going to be grabbing the 15 from Thrawn. I'm also going to be using the diamond, so I'm going to use the 16 from Thrawn. I know that I'm going to be using the Thrawn plus mod, so I'm going to use the 16 from Thrawn. Okay, then for the triangle, I'm not using the speed set, so I'm looking at the O, and you'll see that the O is a 13 from Thrawn. For the arrow mod, I am going to use the speed set, so I'm going to use the 30 from the speed, and I know there's already one on Thrawn, so I'm just going to save myself time and just put Thrawn here. And then the last spot is this circle. Now the circle I save for last because there are a few different possibilities that we noted here. So you can get Nihilus with Tenacity, Thrawn with Potency, or Hermit Yoda with Crit Chance. But my Thrawn's up non-speed set, which is the triangle, is a health set. I don't have a matching health set, so I'm just going to use any of them. I already have one on Thrawn already, so I'm going to use the one on Thrawn. You'll see that my Thrawn right now is maximized for speed based on my current mods. So this is then, if you had different characters, you would copy over. You would go into your game, you would find those mods, you would remove them, and then put them onto your Thrawn character or whatever other character you want, right? Whatever character you're modding from. But now you know where these mods are coming from. You know which mod they're going to because you've already said that this is your remodding Thrawn. And you just move those mods over. So it really is just that process repeated for every different character. Now, one thing I mentioned is using the exclude squads option in order to help you with figuring out how to optimize your mods. So if you go into your GG page, right, you have an option for, I'm going to have to log in here because it didn't have me logged in. So once you go to your GG page, in the top left, if you click on your name, if you highlight over your name, you will see there's an option for My Squads. So if you go to your My Squads, you can create any number of squads that you want. Now with the squad selection in the game, there's really not much of a reason for you to actually save your real squads, right? Like for example, the squads that you're planning for Heroic Sith, or the ones that you're doing for Heroic AAT, or Rancor, or Territory Wars, all of that can be managed in-game. So the way that I found best to utilize this squad select screen is when you finish modding a character, make sure that you update your GG page. You want to go to your, I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. So if you go down to your settings and sync, there's an option just to update at the bottom. You just click update and then it'll update all of your characters with whatever mods are on them. One thing to note, if your mods are not on characters, they're just kind of free sitting out there, not on a character, they will not show up on GG. So make sure that you stick all of your mods on characters so that they show up for the search. Once you finish modding a character, you create a squad and you add that character to your squad. So you'll see that right now I'm in the process of remodding my roster. I finished modding about 35 characters or so. All of these are characters that I have finished modding. So because of that, I put them all in a squad, right? And let's just look at how big a difference it makes, right? So if I go to my mods and I do a filter, I'm not going to do anything except just speed secondaries. Okay, so I'm just clicking speed secondaries. I'm not touching any of the shapes or sets or anything like that, just to show you. You will see that my best speed secondaries on Vader, Thrawn, Vader, Nihilus, right? So you'll see all of these. If I do the same filter and I now click exclude squads, and you guys saw a lot of the characters that I've already kind of worked and modded and put onto it, you'll see that now it goes all the way down to a +13 arrow that's on Jin, on Plo Koon, on Farm Boy Luke. You'll see that all of the mods that are on those characters that I have on the squad list are no longer showing up. So that is the benefit of using those squads in order to exclude characters that you've already modded. You can only resync your GG page every half an hour. So what you'll want to do is try and mod about 2 or 3 characters at a time and then resync, or do one, wait a little while, take a little break, grab something to eat like a Twinkie, and then go ahead and resync after 30 minutes, and then you can do another character one at a time. So it's up to you guys however you want to do it, but that exclude squads option is a really great help if you are trying to remod more than just one character, so you're not accidentally pulling from the same character that you previously remodded. And the deeper you get into your roster, the easier it is to accidentally pull a mod from a character that you need. So with that, that goes through our remodding process. You repeat the same one for all of your different characters. I hope this helps you kind of follow along with the description that I'm giving in the lunch stream in terms of how to optimize it. If you guys don't know, we do a lunch stream at noon Eastern time. And we do a roster review as well as answer your guys' questions, so you guys can definitely join us for that. And if you would like a roster review, hop on the RSG Discord. The link is in the YouTube description below. And go ahead and just PM me, Finity, and with your GG page, and we will add you to the roster review queue. Now that we've kind of settled a little bit more in real life, we're not falling behind as much. We're catching up rather quickly with doing 1 roster review a week. Or 1 review a day, sorry, so 5 a week. And so we're catching up pretty quickly on the queue. So just let us know if you want a roster review queue. If you have any other specific questions as well, you can always just put them in the RSG Discord and we'll be happy to help you as well. So with that, I am Finity with Reality Skewed Gamers signing out, and I hope you guys learned about speed optimization. Thanks for watching this Reality Skewed Gamers video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to check out some of the content that you see on the side here. Join us for some of our live streams, as you can see down below, and make sure that you subscribe by hitting the icon down in the corner. Until next time.